The country's unemployment rate went down to pre-pandemic levels in October. However, job quality continues to be a concern. Shyla Francisco with the report.
Gaddy is now focused on his online selling business after quitting his job as a call center agent. From earning 20,000 pesos per month in his previous job, he now earns 6 digits from selling branded thrift items. He says this is better as he's also in control of his time and is able to provide employment to relatives.
Nag-switch ako into business para masustain ko yung mga needs ng family. Siyempre medyo lumalaki yung family. Bali dalawa yung hinire din tinulungan. Yung brother ko naman na isa is since meron siyang motorcycle, kinuha ko siya para siya yung mismong mag-deliver ng mga ordered items ko.
Economists say that the shift to online selling may be one of the factors as to why the country's unemployment rate continues to decline. The Philippine Statistics Authority said unemployment rate declined to 4.5% in October, matching that of October 2019. The agency attributes this to increased economic activity brought by the holiday season.
So, wala nang restrictions, kaya puro nag-generate lahat ng trabaho yun. Diba? Kung titingnan natin mabuti at nagko-complement yun, both digital pati yung physical source. Kung nagko-complement, kaya nagkaganyan yung unemployment rate.
Meanwhile, month-on-month underemployment rate slipped to 14.2% from 15%. Underemployed Filipinos are those who are looking for additional means of income, either because of low-quality jobs. One other thing to note is the dip in the number of employed Filipinos in October. Among the sectors that saw the largest drop in employment include agriculture and wholesale and retail industries. For its part, the National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, says it will continue to prioritize providing quality jobs for Filipinos. NEDA also plans to continue promoting public-private partnerships to generate more jobs. Shyla Francisco, we are One News.
The country's government borrowings rose to a fresh record high in October. Philstar reports that outstanding debt stood at 13.64 trillion pesos, up by 0.9% from September. The Treasury says the growth in the debt pile was largely due to the taking on of both local and external loans. Domestic borrowing rose to 9.38 trillion pesos, while external debt increased to 4.28 trillion pesos.
And to help us make sense of all these numbers, we have labor economist Butch Lanzona now joining us via Zoom. Sir Butch, good evening and welcome to the big story.
Thank you, Sean.
What can you say about our jobless rate? Is this is this here to stay? Are we really back to pre-pandemic levels? Or is this kind of an illusion because we are, of course, approaching the holiday season and those are October numbers, so months na?
Actually, I think the NEDA director mentioned that the single most important factor was really the opening up of the face-to-face classes last month. It was already felt last month, so there was already a decline in the unemployment rate. But now, we have all of these secondary effects, effects on the other sectors. So if you look at the sectors where employment increased, all of these are related to education, in particular transportation, for instance. Manufacturing, I suppose there are some garments and clothing that the children needs and so on and so forth. And then also construction, maybe they were building up some schools as well. All these things are related to the opening up. So this was somehow muted by the opening up of classes. In the US, they call these factors related to the COVID, to the post-pandemic effects. They call it discombobulations. So these are what we're experiencing right now are the discombobulations resulting from the opening up of the economy. But these things tend to dissipate over time. So eventually, you will feel the inflation. In fact, if you look at the sectors that have lower employment, agriculture and retail, these are the effects of inflation because higher cost of inputs, higher cost of materials. These are in fact keeping the production down, and therefore employment are actually falling in these particular sectors. And also, as was mentioned in the report, there is actually a decline in the underemployment rate, the so-called invisibly underemployed. These are people who are working 40 hours a week already, but they're still looking for work. They want higher paying jobs. They're looking for more compensation and things like that. So, so inflation is just resulting from the opening up of the schools. So I think that's the reason. No? And these things are not going to be permanent, definitely. Inflation eventually will be affecting us.
Yes, sir. Sir,
So that's how it.
yes, sir. Sir, medyo nagchichapi tayo ng konti, but let me see if I'm getting this right. And I'd like to use some of your terms. This dissipation of the discombobulation. Sorry, I just had to use them.
The American economist, it's also studying.
Oh, sayang. Teka. Sir, we're losing you, sir.
It was also felt piece in consumption. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
In fact, it was also seen in the third quarter national income accounts. There was an increase in consumption in spite of the fact that you have inflation.
Well, sir, can you hear me, sir? Kasi we're getting choppy eh. Can you hear me, sir?
Okay, I think...
Rather, cannot be explained by Okay.
Sorry, sir. The line's a bit bad. Sir, let me see if I can squeeze this in, and I hope you can hear me. Well, some of the people we talked to last night were saying, for example, Jonathan Ravelas was saying, we're looking at the possibility of higher inflation rates, maybe up to double digits, maybe even up to almost 10 by the first quarter of next year. How would that impact these numbers?
Well, definitely there's going to be a slowdown in production, and I would think that will have eventually.
Okay, I think we have lost the connection with Sir Butch. We will try to get that connection fixed. But in case we don't, I know, it was such a good topic.
It was interesting, the dissipation. Kasi unang bugso eh. Unang bugso ng opening ng classes. So you can expect jobs kagad eh. A lot of work.
But over time, it is expected to dissipate.
Dissipation of the discombobulation.
Yeah. Diba? Pero yung inflation, nandiyan pa rin hanggang next year. So we'll try to fix that
Something
if we
to
are
talk
not...
about some more in the next few days.